In previous lesson, we created a Hive table and also loaded our video game sales data into it. Okay. Now to create the pipeline, we need a target system, which is Elasticsearch in this case, to also be set up. Okay. And then we can move the data from Hive to Elasticsearch. So let's set up the Elasticsearch side of the data pipeline we are creating. Okay. So let's bring the terminal. Let's go to our files. We created the Hive table using create vgsalestable.sql. Now there is another script called create ES index table.sql. So let's open this file. So here also it's saying use the database we created, which is Udemy database. Okay, and drop the table if it already existing called vg underscore sales underscore es. This is not the table which we created in previous lesson, but this is the table which we will create in this lesson, and this is the Elasticsearch side of the table. So we want to start fresh. If it is already existing from previous attempts, we want it to be deleted and start fresh. That's why this statement is there. Okay, so here let me scroll down a bit so you can see full command. All right, so this is the structure of the Elasticsearch side of the table. Okay, now you might be wondering why we are talking about tables in Elasticsearch. We have indexes and types, right? You're right. What we are doing is we are using the jar. You remember we downloaded a jar called Elasticsearch Apache Hadoop.jar file. That jar file provides the functionality to connect Hadoop systems with Elasticsearch. And we know that Hive is also one of the components in Hadoop, right? So what we are doing is we are connecting a Hive table with Elasticsearch Index. So whatever activity we will do on a Hive table, it will be reflected in Elasticsearch Index. So what we are trying to do is we are using that jar, okay, and connecting a Hive table to Elasticsearch, okay, and this Hive table will be a special type of table. It will use some different properties, and behind the scenes that jar will connect Hive table with Elasticsearch Index. Okay, so in other words, whatever activity we do on this Hive table will be reflected in Elasticsearch Index. So the way to do this is create a table, a Hive table, same way we did in previous exercise. Put on the variables, put on the attributes we need for this table. We have chosen to use all the variables from the source table. Okay, so it has rank, name, platform in the same order as it was in vg underscore sales table. Okay, that is our source table. So if the table is existing, it will be dropped. Okay, and we want a new table to be created with the same name. Okay, and this will also be an external table, and the table name will be vg underscore sales underscore es. So this is different from the source table. Earlier we had a name called vg underscore sales. That is just a Hive source table which will provide the data to Elasticsearch. This one is the target table, which is vg underscore sales underscore es for Elasticsearch. This table will be our target table. Okay, so what we are doing here is, you remember we downloaded a jar called Elasticsearch Apache Hadoop.jar file, and we put that jar file in auxiliary lib folder for Hive. That file is helping us to integrate Hadoop systems with Elasticsearch. Okay, and as you know, Hive is also a component in Hadoop, so we are connecting Hive to Elasticsearch. And the way we are doing this is we are creating a new table in Hive, and behind the scenes we are using some special properties to connect this table to Elasticsearch Index. Okay, so whatever activity you will do on this table in Hive will be reflected in Elasticsearch Index. So to do that, we are using a special type of format to store this table, and that is called ES storage handler. This is provided by the jar which we downloaded. Okay, and the location of the data for this table will be same as before, only the table name is different. Okay, but actually if you go there you will not see the data. The data will be sent to Elasticsearch and it will be stored in the index. Another very important thing about this table which you should note is these three properties. Okay, so es dot resource is basically specifying the index slash your type. Okay, so it is saying that connect this Hive table to an index in Elasticsearch called VG, and it has a type called sales. Okay, and the node on which this Elasticsearch is running is HTTP localhost. Okay, and the port is 9200. So let's create this table and run this file, and we can run it the same way we did before. Okay, okay, all right, so the table is created. Let's go and check. You remember the table name was VG underscore sales underscore ES, and we can see all the columns in there. Okay, if you do a select star from VG underscore sales underscore ES limit 3, we should not get any data, right? Okay, so this is basically saying that we are missing the index and the type in the Elasticsearch side of it. Okay, and that we will do in the next step. So let's open the other file. This is a good test indicating that we are able to connect Hive with Elasticsearch. That's why it's saying it is missing the index and sales which we defined as part of the Hive table. Okay, so let's go back to our files and open the last file we have, a load es index. Okay, open this file. Now here again we are using Udemy and it's an insert statement. Okay, we have the source table which is VG sales. We are saying copy these specific attributes from that table and write them into VG sales underscore ES. Okay, so this activity will actually load the data from Hive to Elasticsearch. This is the uh, this is the point where the data pipeline will be created and the data will be sent out. As of now, we have a blank data pipeline. Okay, there is no data flowing. But after this command is executed, the data will be transmitted. So let's do that, and we can run it in the same way because it's a Hive file. So it may take a while. So let me pause the video here. Okay, so it looks like our insert statement succeeded and it has loaded the data into Elasticsearch. And we can go ahead and check that. So the easy way is to run this same command in Hive. Okay, it works both ways. It is connected to Elasticsearch Index, so we can also do a select and insert on the same table. Okay, so let's do this. Now, as you can see, we are able to get some records out of Elasticsearch. These records are coming from Elasticsearch, not from Hive. Okay, and we can check that in our Elasticsearch head plugin. Okay, so let me bring the browser, and our index is called VG. If I refresh, I should get an index. So this is the index which we just created, and it has over 16,000 records. Okay, and that's the total size of the index data. All right, so this is the end of this exercise. So here we were able to create a data pipeline between Hive and Elasticsearch, and we successfully moved data from Hive table to Elasticsearch Index.